On July 23, 2025, the music world lost a titan whose guitar riffs and songwriting genius helped define rock for over 6 decades. George Kooymans, the heart and soul of the Dutch rock band Golden Earring, passed away at the age of 77. Known for penning the iconic Twilight Zone and co-founding one of the Netherlands' most enduring bands, George's life was a testament to raw talent, resilience, and a deep love for music. His death, following a 4-year battle with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, left fans across the globe in mourning, with tributes on X from users like at Dutch News NL and at Confucius calling him a beautiful man and the musical force behind Golden Earring. From his humble beginnings in The Hague to his global success with hits like Radar Love, George's journey was one of passion, creativity, and quiet strength. Today, we dive into George Kooymans' cause of death, age, family, net worth, lifestyle, and biography, to celebrate a man whose music continues to echo in the hearts of millions. Born on March 11, 1948, in The Hague, Netherlands, George Kooymans grew up in a working-class neighborhood where music was a rare luxury, but his passion for it burned bright from an early age. Raised by his parents alongside his siblings, George found inspiration in his cousin Wim Fox, a musician who lived across the street and introduced him to the guitar. At just 13, in 1961, George formed a rock duo with his neighbor Rinus Gerritsen, a bassist who would become his lifelong bandmate and brother-in-law. They called themselves the Tornadoes, only to rename the group the Golden Earrings after learning of a British band with the same name. The name came from an instrumental by the Hunters, a group they opened for, and it marked the start of a journey that would make history. George's childhood was modest, shaped by the post-war grit of The Hague, where he honed his craft in local clubs, driven by a love for rock and roll and influences like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. By 1965, at 17, he was already a rising star, with the Golden Earrings' debut single Please Go climbing the Dutch charts, a moment George later called the spark that lit everything in a 2018 interview. The Golden Earrings, later shortened to Golden Earring, became a sensation in the Netherlands with their pop-rock sound, driven by George's songwriting and guitar prowess. With lead singer Frans Krasenberg and drummer Jaap Egermont, they scored hits like That Day in 1966, but it was the arrival of singer Barry Hay in 1967 and drummer Caesar Zuderwijk in 1970 that solidified the classic lineup. George's vision transformed the band into a hard rock powerhouse, and their 1973 album Moontan, featuring the timeless Radar Love, brought international fame. The song, written by George with lyrics by Hay, hit number 13 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and top charts in Europe, becoming a rock anthem covered by bands like U2 and REM. In 1982, George penned Twilight Zone, inspired by Robert Ludlum's The Bourne Identity, which became Golden Earring's only US top 10 hit, reaching number 1 on the Billboard Top Album Tracks chart. His ability to craft melodies that were both gritty and cinematic made him the band's creative backbone. As Hay noted in a 2021 interview, George was the engine. Without him, we were just parts. George's influence extended far beyond Golden Earring. A prolific songwriter and producer, he discovered and nurtured talents like Earth and Fire, writing their 1970 hit Seasons, which reached number 2 in the Netherlands and number 3 in Japan, selling over 200,000 copies. He wrote for artists like Patricia Pai, crafting Tell Me You're Never Gonna Leave Me in 1970, and for Hearts of Soul with Fat Jack. His 1972 hit, It's Gonna Be Alright for Smile and contributions to Kinderen voor Kinderens voor en Vlam, showcased his versatility. In the 1990s, George and Barry Hay discovered Anouk, producing her multi-platinum debut together alone in 1997 at George's studio in Rijkevorsel, Belgium, a project that became the best-selling debut album of that year. His production work included albums for Herman Brood, New Adventures, and Grinders, earning him a reputation as a mentor to Dutch artists. In 2017 and 2018, he joined forces with Henny Vrienden and Duin de Groot in the Dutch-language supergroup Vreemd Koosgangers, releasing 2 albums that showed his willingness to explore new sounds, even singing in Dutch for the first time. a move fans on X like it Poldercyclist called a gift to our culture. George's personal life was a quiet counterpoint to his rock star career. In 1969, at 21, he married Melanie Gerritsen, the younger sister of bandmate Rinus Gerritsen, forging a bond that lasted over 5 decades. Together, they raised 2 children, daughter Cassie, born in 1986, and son Kid, born in 1982, and welcomed 3 grandchildren. Melanie was his rock, supporting him through the highs of global tours and the lows of his later health struggles. The family settled in Rijkevorsel, Belgium, near the Dutch border, in the early 1970s. Choosing a peaceful life over a planned move to the U.S. George's home was a reflection of his eclectic passions. A pig and peacocks roamed the grounds, and he spent his free time gardening, cooking, and restoring motorbikes, a hobby that inspired the artwork for his 1987 solo album Solo. "I'm a Dutchman at heart, but Belgium gave me space to breathe," he told a local paper in 2015. His love for his family was evident in his rare interviews, where he spoke of Cassie's art and Kid's music with pride, and fans on X like it Frank Wank noted his humility despite his genius. Golden Earring's career was a marathon, with over 40 hits and 30 gold and platinum albums in the Netherlands, and millions sold worldwide. Albums like Moontan, Cut, and NEWS showcased George's ability to evolve, blending rock with new wave and psychedelia while staying true to the band's raw energy. Their live performances, from Amsterdam's Theatre Care in 1975 to London's Shepherd's Bush Empire in 2009, were legendary, with George's guitar work, played on a Gibson Les Paul, Fender Stratocaster, or Gretsch 6119, described as subtle yet ferocious by a fan on X. His solo albums, JoJo in 1971 and Solo in 1987, reached the Dutch charts, while his 2010 collaboration with Frank Carrillo on Location and 2022's Mirage showed his enduring creativity. The 2022 release of Seasons as a solo track, originally written for Earth and Fire, was a poignant full-circle moment, with fans calling it a love letter to his legacy on X. His 1969 Zilveren Harp and 2012 Eddie Christiani Award honored his contributions to Dutch music, and in 2023, Rijkevorsel named him an honorary citizen, a rare accolade for a private man. In February 2021, George's world changed when he was diagnosed with ALS, a progressive neuromuscular disease that robbed him of his ability to play guitar and perform. The announcement, shared with fans after months of speculation, led to Golden Earring's disbandment, as the band, George, Barry Hay, Rinus Gerritsen, and Cesar Zuiderwitsch, refused to continue without him. "We're a brotherhood, not a business," Hay said in a press release, a sentiment echoed by Zuiderwitsch, who called George the toughest of us all. The band's final show at Rotterdam's Ahoy in 2019 became their unintended farewell, a night Hay described as electric, with family and friends. On March 11, 2021, Dutch and Belgian radio stations, including Radio Veronica and NPO Radio 2, played Radar Love at 5:15 p.m. To honor George, a moment fans on X like at Nocturnal Valkyrie called a nation's goodbye. George retreated from public life, focusing on his family and treatment in Belgium, where he lived quietly, supported by Melanie and their children. George Kooymans passed away on July 23, 2025, at his home in Rijkevorsel, surrounded by Melanie, Cassie, Kid, and his grandchildren. His death, attributed to complications from ALS, was announced by the band's attorney, with a statement calling him a great musician and composer, a beloved husband, father, grandfather, and friend. The ALS Netherlands Foundation's director, Lim Ornoch, expressed condolences, noting George's courage in facing the disease. Tributes flooded X, with at Real Sevenson mourning the loss of a true rock pioneer, alongside other legends like Ozzy Osbourne, and at Scoopy One praising the band's loyalty in disbanding rather than replacing him. Zuiderwitsch, in a heartfelt statement, said, "I played with him for 50 years. It was the best time of my life," reflecting on their shared journey. Fans shared memories of George's performances, from the smoky stages of the 1970s to his soulful solos at Park Pop in 1995, with one ex-user recalling, His guitar in Twilight Zone felt like it could pierce your soul. George's lifestyle was a blend of rock star energy and grounded simplicity, with an estimated net worth of $3 million to $10 million, built through golden earring success, solo work, and production for artists like Anouk. He lived comfortably but not extravagantly. His rich Gavorsal home, where he raised his family, was filled with guitars, motorbike memorabilia, and gardening tools, reflecting his love for nature and craftsmanship. He was known for cooking traditional Dutch dishes for his family, often joking about his secret pea soup recipe in rare interviews. His passion for motorbikes led to a collection of restored classics, and he once said, "Riding and playing guitar both make you feel free." Despite his wealth, George remained a private man, avoiding the spotlight and focusing on his music and family. His ALS treatment was costly, but he never sought public sympathy, choosing instead to let his music speak, as noted by fans on X who admired his dignity. George Kooymans' legacy is woven into the fabric of rock history, from the raw energy of Radar Love to the cinematic sweep of Twilight Zone. His songs captured the spirit of rebellion and longing. His discovery of Anouk, his work with Vreemd Coastgangers, and his mentorship of Dutch artists showed a man who never stopped creating. His love for Melanie, Cassie, and Kid was his anchor, as was his lifelong friendship with Rinus, Barry, and Caesar, a brotherhood that defined Golden Earring's 60-year run. The pain of ALS took his ability to play, but not his spirit, as he recorded Seasons in 2022, a final gift to fans. As Zuiderwijk said, "George was our engine, our heart." His music lives on in every chord of Radar Love, every pulse of Twilight Zone, and every memory of a band that refused to compromise. If George's story of passion, resilience, and love has moved you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let's keep his music alive, honoring a man who made the world rock a little harder. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of George Kooymans. Until next time, keep playing, keep loving, and keep his spirit close.